something happened on stage at Nashville's Nissan Stadium that took only minutes to spread across social media, and the conversation it triggered hasn't really stopped since. Usher and Chris Brown's joint R&B Tour made a stop there, and during his set, Usher pulled a fan up from the crowd, something he has done throughout his career. This time, the woman he chose was Gabrielle Cheyenne, who had come to the concert with her mother. According to TMZ, Cheyenne was attending Usher's concert in Nashville when she was called up onto the stage by the singer. Once on stage, what followed was familiar territory for Usher. He performed a sensual routine while singing "Can You Handle It?", something he often does with fans he brings up. But this time, the moment took an unexpected turn to her, and when he leaned in and gently guided her backward, she appeared uncomfortable. Usher seemed to read the room quickly. He joked to the crowd, "I don't think she wants to be on the stage, huh?" before signaling for her to leave the stage. He then looked back out into the audience to find another fan to bring up in her place. Those few seconds were enough for the internet to run with. Clips circulated rapidly, and viewers began forming their own theories about what Cheyenne was actually feeling in that moment, and why she supposedly didn't lean into what many considered a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's worth noting here that none of the people commenting online had any direct knowledge of what was going through Cheyenne's mind. All of it was drawn from a few seconds of footage, which places it firmly in the category of speculation, not established fact. After staying quiet for a few days, Gabrielle Cheyenne stepped forward to address the situation directly. She posted on Facebook, pushing back against the idea that she had declined to be on stage. In her own words,
"A person that's around here wanting the latest drama, wanting to be in drama, you've never seen me post."
First off, nobody is declining to go on stage. She explained that she and her mother had originally purchased floor seats, but the venue's team had moved them to VIP before the show even started, and she said she had no idea beforehand what she would be brought up on stage for. In that same post, Cheyenne noted that she felt she looked good and had no issue with thousands of people seeing her, effectively rejecting the assumption that embarrassment or self-consciousness explained her reaction. One of the more revealing details she added was about her original motivation for wanting to be picked at all. She said she had actually wanted to be brought up for Chris Brown specifically, not Usher, and pointed out that concert staff never clarify in advance which artist or for what purpose a fan is being selected. That context matters. If someone is mentally prepared for one artist and suddenly finds themselves in an entirely different scenario with another headliner, a hesitant or awkward reaction becomes far more understandable. Cheyenne's response wasn't limited to the Facebook post. She also posted on her Instagram stories, warning people against calling her out of her name and disrespecting her, and telling critics they wouldn't bully her over an experience they themselves never had. Not long after, she posted again, this time a collage of selfies on Facebook.
Never seen me post a fight. You've never seen me post on social media about me being in tour
with the caption simply reading, "Unbothered." That post became its own point of debate, with many observers arguing the very act of posting it suggested she was, in fact, bothered by the backlash. Multiple outlets covering the story, including The Shade Room, Permatimer, and Mirror US, have identified Cheyenne as a Nashville-based nurse. Critics accused her of fumbling a moment that, in their view, could have been life-changing for someone else. It's worth stressing that a single reaction captured on stage, whether composed or uncertain, cannot reasonably stand in for someone's entire character, but that's rarely how social media operates. A short clip tends to generate a full narrative on its own, and that's essentially what happened here. To understand the broader picture, it helps to look at the tour this moment took place within. The joint run by Usher and Chris Brown, officially billed as the R&B Tour or the Raymond and Brown Tour, was announced in April 2026 as a co-headlining stadium run spanning the summer. The announcement itself was made through a teaser video posted across both artists' social media pages, showing them arriving on motorcycles before appearing together in front of a large stadium crowd. Fans had anticipated a pairing like this for years, partly because Chris Brown had drawn early inspiration from Usher when he entered the industry in the mid-2000s. The tour hasn't been free of controversy on its own terms, though. Almost as soon as it was announced, some people criticized the pairing over comments Usher had recently made regarding Sean Diddy Combs, who is currently dealing with active legal cases and imprisonment. In an interview with Forbes, when asked what word came to mind first when he heard Combs' name, saying he had nothing negative to say about Combs because his own experience wasn't what the public had seen, and that he felt Combs had been misrepresented. That comment drew considerable pushback at the time, and it resurfaced as a talking point once the tour was announced. Chris Brown carries his own well-documented history that tends to resurface with each new project he takes on. His reputation has long been tied to past outbursts of violent behavior, something covered in the 2024 docuseries Chris Brown, A History of Violence. Ahead of one tour stop, the Cleveland date in particular drew a mixed reaction online when it was first announced, with some commenters simply writing no or responding with emojis expressing discomfort. In other words, this tour has been operating under divided public opinion from the start. Some fans genuinely excited to see two major R&B figures share a stage. Others keeping their distance because of both artists' respective histories. The performances themselves have drawn mixed reviews as well. A review of the Minneapolis stop at US Bank Stadium described it as an entertaining but flawed 3-hour show. Setlist choices became a recurring point of debate across cities. Some fans felt Chris Brown leaned too heavily on material from earlier tours without offering much new, while others raised questions about whether stage time was being split evenly between the two headliners. Played out across social media well into the following morning after at least one stop. Seen against this backdrop, the Cheyenne moment wasn't an isolated incident. It unfolded within a tour that was already facing nightly scrutiny, whether over set lists, stage time, or the personal histories both artists carry with them. It's worth being precise here about what is confirmed and what remains speculative. Confirmed. Usher brought Cheyenne on stage, performed Can You Handle It? She appeared uncomfortable. Usher signaled for her to leave the stage. The clip went viral, and Cheyenne later addressed it publicly through Facebook and Instagram. What remains speculation. What Cheyenne was actually feeling in that moment, the degree of any embarrassment, or whether she had any personal issue with Usher. Specifically, none of that has any verified basis beyond online guesswork. Likewise, there's no record of Usher issuing any separate official statement addressing this specific incident beyond what he said on stage in the moment itself. From an industry standpoint, viral moments like this tend to cut both ways for a tour. On one hand, clips like these function as organic marketing. They generate curiosity and make people want to attend a future show in the hope something similarly memorable might happen to them. On the other hand, if public conversation keeps circling back to moments framed around an uncomfortable fan, questions naturally arise about how well concert organizers manage consent and comfort for audience members brought into these performances. That's not a question unique to this tour. It's one that comes up periodically across the concert industry whenever major stars physically involve audience members in their acts. Reactions among fan communities have also been notably split. Some praised Cheyenne for standing her ground and explaining herself directly, rather than waiting for anyone's approval. Others argued that her repeated follow-up posts, including the unbothered caption, suggested she was, in fact, affected by the criticism. Both readings are subjective interpretations, and neither should be presented as settled fact. On the business and financial side, there's no available reporting. indicating that this viral moment has had any direct impact on ticket sales, sponsorships, or other official tour partnerships. What discussion exists within tour-related coverage has focused mostly on setlist balance and stage time, not this specific incident. Framing it as some kind of financial setback for the tour would be speculative, since no verified information supports that claim. What makes this story notable is that Gabrielle Cheyenne was, by all accounts, an ordinary attendee who became part of a much larger public conversation overnight, simply because her reaction didn't match what the audience expected to see. Her own account is that she was never told in advance which artist she was being brought up for, or why, and that uncertainty may have shaped how she responded, though that too is her own account, rather than something independently verified by a third part. If there's a broader takeaway from this episode, it's that viral moments are often built on a handful of seconds of footage, while the context behind them, seating changes, prior expectations, personal circumstances, rarely makes it into the clip itself. Cheyenne's situation illustrates how quickly a short video can generate a full narrative in public discourse, even when the actual situation is considerably more layered than it first appears. Until any further official statement or verified update emerges, that's where the story currently stands. One woman's public defense of herself against an audience still divided on how to interpret what they saw.